Hey y'all, this is Rayborn the Witch coming at you live from Femspiration 215, and I'm here to give my air signs a 2020 reading for September. So this reading is inspired by the medicine wheel and the four directions and the energies that the four directions bring. So I was called to do a spread around this and around healing energies in the four different directions, and I was called to use four different decks in order to do this. So I'm going to jump right into it with the first direction, which is the north direction. The north direction is all about earth energy. It's all about your purpose and your true destination and your true path. So the question that I'm asking is to the animal deck, and I'm asking, how will I express my true passion and purpose in the month to come for my air signs? So how will my Aquarius sign, my Geminis, and my Libras cultivate the energy of their true passion and purpose in the month ahead and beyond? So what kind of energy will they bring forth to express their true passion and purpose for my air signs? I'm going to give it one more shuffle, and then I'm going to pull the cards. Okay, so for my air signs, love it. What kind of energy will they have to express their true passion and purpose? One more. Beautiful. Okay, love this. Okay, so the cards that I got from the animal deck, the first one that popped out was the Swan Spirit. And the Swan Spirit asks us to go for a deep dive into our emotions. A lot of times air signs can kind of like flit around in the ethers, but they have a hard time grounding themselves in their emotional they like to avoid their emotions because sometimes they can become overwhelming, because air signs in general are pretty empathic and pretty sensitive to the energies around them. But right now it's time to go within. And it's time to do so with grace. The swan is a graceful energy that allows us to glide into our emotions, to dip our head in the pond. We don't have to dive deep necessarily, but we do need to submerge ourselves at times in understanding our emotions on a deeper level. So it's time to do a deep dive in order to better understand your true passions and purpose within yourself so that you can express that to the outside world. The reason why I say that we're doing this in a gentle and compassionate manner is because we also have the deer spirit, and the deer spirit asks us to bring a gentle touch. So any kind of emotions that do arise, we need to better understand them for ourselves and have compassion for ourselves so that we can express any kind of frustration that we may feel towards others with a gentle energy. So the deer spirit asks us to do this with compassion and gentleness. And another, which I love, that this is the expression of true passion and purpose, is the ant spirit. So it's time to collaborate. It's time to work together. And what better sign to work together than like a Gemini, right? And a Gemini is an air sign, and they're like a sign that really cultivates meaningful friendships with others in order to get the job done together. Aquarians are very good at humanitarians of the zodiac. And then we have our Libras that are all about bringing in the balance. So it is time to collaborate. It's time to bring other people into your thought process and awareness so that you can build something bigger than if you were to build it on your own. So I love this. And the ant spirit is a number one. So it's time to initiate collaboration with your members of your spiritual team, members of your family, members of your friend group. If you're building something, you want to work with a team that's going to help support your goals. So the next energy is the east energy, and the east energy is asking us about air. So air energy is all about your thoughts and your patterns of belief systems that you have within yourself. So I'm asking my soul journey tarot deck that I got from my dear friend Katina, who is has air placements in her chart, but she's a Cancer, but she can channel those air messages and deliver them to people when they need it most, which is beautiful. So I'm asking the East energy, how will the air signs grow in the next chapter of their life? How will air signs grow in the next chapter of their life? We are moving into new timelines. We are moving and stepping into new paths and new journeys for ourselves. So how will my air signs grow in the next chapter of their lives? I'm gonna give it one more shuffle. How will my air signs grow in the next chapter of their lives? Okay, so let me ask this. How will my Geminis, my Libras, and my Aquarians grow in the next chapter of their life? How will my air signs grow in the next chapter of their life? Yep, beautiful. And one more. One more for my air signs. Beautiful. Okay. So how will my air signs grow in the next chapter of my life? The first one that came out was envy. Envy, it says, I am the same as everyone with different challenges. A lot of times air signs can kind of get caught up in what's going on in the outside world and be envious of what others have without realizing that they have the ability to have it for themselves. And sometimes they get a little jealous and a little catty. I know that not Aquarians necessarily, but like Geminis get a little catty with things. Libras can be a little catty and envious, or people envy them and want to know their secrets and their recipes for greatness. So it's important to understand that we are here to learn from each other, and there's no need to be envious of somebody else. If you are starting to feel jealous of somebody, it's time to see where inside yourself you're lacking, so that you can cultivate that energy within you instead of being envious of somebody else for having it, right? So envy is a big thing for my Geminis, for my Aquarius, for my Libras. And these are all placements within your chart. So this doesn't have to be just your sun sign. This could be your moon and your rising sign. So if you look at your natal chart, you can go to your cafeastrology.com. You can plug in your time you were born, and you can get like your whole entire natal chart, which will give you your sun, your moon, and your rising placements to allow you to have a more comprehensive read of yourself, right? The next one I love because I feel like air signs have a really good understanding of humor and how to like think about the lighter sides of life. So it says humor, I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. So how will my Geminis and Aquarius and Libra kind of like lighten up a little bit or help others lighten up a little bit? I know my Geminis like to laugh things off a lot of times because it keeps them from crying. A lot of my Gemini friends, a lot of my Aquarians necessarily are like a little bit more serious and need to allow some more humor into their lives if they've made choices that were not necessarily the best. They just need to release it and move forward and know that they were like, just learning, and they're in the process of learning. So bringing that humor to other people, bringing that laughter to other people is essential. And that's how you're going to grow in the next stage of your life, is you're going to be someone that brings that for other people as well as yourself. And the last card, which I love, is the service card, right? So you are going to grow into acts of service for others. So it says, I feel good when I help others. So as people that are already good at working with other people and collaborating, you are bringing another layer of service to the table. Maybe you are a spiritual reader. Maybe you are somebody that helps others heal through various art forms, through expression. So you're called to act of service to others. Instead of just being of service to yourself, it's time to put yourself out there and really know that like whatever you're manifesting for yourself, it should be for the greater good of all, right? I love that card. And we have 3 colors here, right? So we have the green and the yellow, and then we have the yellow and the orange. But what I'm thinking about in these colors and the expression of these is that the yellow is all about solar plexus energy. So it's all about confidence. And so we see this in the envy card. So it's time for you to be more self-confident within yourself. And we see this in the act of service, like you do have something to offer others from a heart-centered space. And then we have this final green card, which is the heart chakra color. And that is about doing it from a place of love and care, right? When we make others laugh, we heal ourselves as well. Okay, so now we're moving on to the South energy, and the South energy is fire energy. So I'm asking my Work Your Light deck. So this is my light worker deck, and I'm going to read the meaning of these cards because these cards are really deep. So we're asking this direction: how will I continue to heal from the past? How will I continue to heal from the past? We've already been healing, whether we realize it or not. How will we continue to heal from the past so that we can move forward on our path? How will my air signs continue to heal from the past so that they can move forward in their life? How will my air signs continue to heal from the past? Okay, I think this is a good place to stop. How will my air signs continue to heal in order to move forward? My Geminis, I got 2 cards. I love this. Beautiful. And this is so important for air signs. Air signs have a really hard time sometimes getting grounded. And the first card you got is get grounded. How will you continue to heal? you are going to continue to activate your crown and your third eye dimension and bring that into a beautiful place of solitude and strength and compassion for yourself, right? So meditation is super important for my air signs. So you're going to continue to get grounded because you are empathic, right? A lot of my air signs are so empathic and they need to ground themselves and ground their energy back to earth in order to be able to be of service to others. So it says empaths, highly sensitive, connect with nature. So one of the things that you can do in order to get grounded is you can go outside and connect with any kind of nature. You can step on the grass that's outside of your apartment. You can step on the grass in a field. You can go for a hike, whatever kind of way that you get grounded. I just did a meditation in my room for 15 minutes. I set my timer. I breathe for 15 minutes. I hold my obsidian and I hold my clear quartz in the other hand and I breathe. So that's one way that you're going to be able to continue to heal, is just by recognizing that whatever answers that you seek outside of yourself can also come from within, if you're able to quiet your mind. And I know it's hard for my air signs to quiet their minds at times, but this is super important in the next chapter of your life. The other one, and this is the beautiful relationship between these two cards, is that if you are getting grounded and you are continuing to heal, you are going to be able to answer the call, right? You are going to be able to hear the messages that need to come to you with that grounded, centered meditation that you're doing. So it says, what is your soul calling you to do? What kind of service are you being asked to provide others? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just read from the Work Your Light deck about these two cards so that we can have a better understanding of what kind of energies is needed for healing. So we're going to go to page 66 for our Get Grounded card here. Okay, so get grounded. You are being called to get grounded to ensure that your luminous field is clear and your inner well is full. If you are not grounded, it is all too easy to get swept up in other people's energy and mistake it for your own. Your boundaries will become blurred as you are absorbing the energy around you and struggling to define what their stuff is and what yours is. If you pull this card, you are very likely an empath or highly sensitive person and need time alone to fill up your well, balance your energy, and get grounded. And I'm getting the angel shivers right now, so I know that this is true. There are two types of people: those who draw their energy from others and those who draw their energy from within. Reflect on which one you are and carve out time each day to ensure that your well is being replenished. Being sensitive is a superpower, but like all superpowers, it needs to be nurtured in order to be fulfilled. It is easy to get swept away in the high frequency energy of swirling around the planet. And the quickest and most effective way of clearing all from your field is to ground yourself by connecting with Mother Earth. There are many ways to get grounded. One of the most powerful ways is to practice earthing by connecting with the power of Mother Earth. Spend time in nature. Put your hands on a tree. Your palms are extensions of your heart chakra, or walk barefoot on the earth. And you are being asked to connect with earth through that way. I love that. So the next one is answer the call. So we are being asked to answer the call. And I know that when I ground myself in meditation, I hear messages that I wouldn't otherwise hear, because a lot of times as an empath, I absorb the energy of others without realizing it. And I need a space to where I can release those, and that's a perfect way to do so on a regular basis. So now I'm going to the answer your call. So I think it is this book is a little bit interesting because it doesn't really have. Okay, so this one is 36. So go to page 36. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so your guidance is divinely guided. You are being called to answer the call of your soul. It might be scary. It might not make sense. But if you trust your soul's yearnings, you will live a life beyond what your mind could have possibly imagined. Answering your soul's call is not a one-time thing, rather a lifelong dance. Deep down, you already know what you long for, what your soul yearns for. Whatever you are being called to do, that is your calling. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for a permission. Just say yes. Most people are waiting for a step-by-step plan before they take the first step. But intuition doesn't work like that. It takes faith and courage to answer the calls of your soul. And that's why most people don't do it. But you are not most people. You are exactly in the right place to answer your calling now. You don't need to know the whole plan. You don't even need to know where it's leading. You just need to take the next step. No one has ever had to complete perfect plan. There is no end destination. There is no right or wrong to do it, and you do not need permission from anyone else. Sometimes the most resistance that we have around answering our soul's call, the most important, is to our soul's growth. So we cannot resist the call that we have within us. We need to find a place in order to find the silence that is needed to go within and to tap into our inner truth and inner wisdom, right? I love that so much for you guys. So I think that, a lot of air signs are like humanitarians. They do feel and absorb the energy of others. And it's important to know that like you can find a way to release it, but still help others in the process. But you first have to help yourself, right? The last direction is the west direction. And the west direction is a little bit tricky because the west direction deals with water and water deals with emotions. So the question that I have for the west direction is, how will I release toxic patterns? And I'm asking my crow deck this question. My crow deck does not tell me any lies, right? My crow deck is a talker. So it's going to tell us what we need to release in order to move forward. Any toxic patterns, behaviors, ways of thinking that air signs have that's blocking them from their blessings, blocking them from their soul purpose. Okay, for my air signs, how are they releasing toxic patterns? How are my air signs releasing toxic patterns? Okay, I'm going to take all three of those because they came out with the 4. So we got 4 directions here, right? So the first card that came out is the Knight of Pentacles. We need to slow down and be meticulous in our plans, right? Because the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. They have their plans of action in place, and they're doing it from a place of moving one step at a time. So sometimes air energy is very like impulsive and just wants to kind of act and they think a lot too, but sometimes they can get themselves stuck in their thinking, which causes them not to move forward. So it's important for us to get unstuck and just take one step forward and know that we're going somewhere even with one step. The next card that I got was the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups asks us to walk away from those things that are no longer serving us. We can leave things intact and move away from them and separate ourselves in the energy that we have and know that like our cups are still standing, but there's something bigger and better beyond the horizon, beyond our current circumstances on an emotional level. And so sometimes it requires us to put distance in a loving and compassionate way between you and the energy that seeks to drain you without knowing, right? Because a lot of times Aquarians, because they're so compassionate and so much there for others, like Oprah Winfrey is an Aquarius, of course, like she's there for others, but she probably had to learn how to like emotionally distance herself from energy of others in order to be able to continue to give of herself, right? And give of service. And also Ellen DeGeneres is an Aquarius, right? So we have all these like people that are people that give a lot of themselves to others, but they probably have a practice and a daily ritual that they do in order to ground themselves in order to be of service to others. The next one is the Emperor. So we have this energy of needing to get some structures in place in order to move forward, in order to build our empire. So we need to release ourselves from toxic patterns by realizing that we have all the resources available to us to initiate new things and to initiate new action for ourselves. We have the throne, right? It's also about releasing control. So the Emperor is a very controlling sign. Sometimes it's about we wanting to release that control in order to let things come to us naturally in a more passive way. And we can still remain on our throne from a more grounded place. But a lot of times, like Emperor energy is action-oriented energy. It's the Aries of the deck of the major arcana cards. And so it's important that when we initiate something that we have all of our own structures in place in order to build upon those, right? So we have to recognize the power that we have within ourselves to make that happen. And the last card that we get is the 5 of Wands in reverse. So it's time to release conflicts with others. It's time to pick your battles, choose your battles wisely, and know that, there's like 4 or 5 crows in this card, and they all are carrying a different colored wand. But the one that's on top when it's in upright is the solar plexus. So we have to realize that we have the confidence within us to understand when we don't need to engage in a fight that's not something that we have to engage in, right? Like a lot of times, like specifically people that do cultivate really meaningful friendships, they stick themselves out for other people unnecessarily when they just need to stick up for themselves and understand, like, where in this do I feel like askew, and what do I need to address with others about my needs, instead of addressing the collective needs of everybody. So it's really important to pick and choose your battles in order to move forward, because a lot of times that codependent energy of fighting other people's battles keeps us from really understanding our own battles that we need to fight within ourselves, and also keeps us like projecting outside of ourselves. So it's really important to draw that energy back within and to release whatever isn't really for us or wasn't really meant for us to fight. We can't handle other people's karma for them. We got to let them handle their own, right? It's very hard to do, but we have to detach with love. So that was your spread, my air signs. I have available for private readings. All of my information is linked below. Please follow me on other platforms. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, and I look forward to talking with you. If anything resonates with you, comment below, like, share, subscribe.